Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to VR Computer Education. Today class 7. So in class 7 we are going to discuss about classification of computer. So classification of computer. So how computer is classified? So it contains three categories. So computer is classified into three categories. First one, based on type. Second one, based on size. And third one, based on purpose. So computer is classified into three categories. So based on type, based on size, based on purpose, computers are classified. So let us see one by one. First we'll see based on type. So here, based on type, so computers are classified like this: analog computer, digital computer, hybrid computer. So based on type, computers are classified into three types: analog computer, digital computer, hybrid computer. Next, based on size, microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer, and super computer. Next, based on purpose, there are two types, that is general purpose and special purpose. So how the computers are classified like this: based on type, based on size, based on purpose. So based on type, three types again: analog computer, digital computer, hybrid computer. Based on size, microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer, and supercomputer. Based on purpose, two types: general purpose and special purpose. So like this computers are classified. So let us discuss one by one. First, based on type. So classification of computer based on type. So we know based on type there are three types, that is analog computer, digital computer, and hybrid computer. So first, what is analog computer? Analog computer is used to measure physical units or quantities like voltage, pressure, current, temperature, right? It may be body temperature or room temperature. See, analog computers are used to measure like physical units, which takes continuous changes, right? Voltage will change continuously, they will not constant. Pressure will change, current also will change, and temperature also will change. If for example, if you check your body temperature, once if you check you will get 98, once you will check you will get 96, like that it goes on change. So analog computers will measure only the physical unit which changes. Next, analog computers perform tasks on continuous data, means the physical quantity which changes continuously. Just now I said. So the data which changes continuously, like stock market, right? Like that, which changes continuously. Next, analog computer is also used to measure and perform arithmetic calculations on numbers, like you can find the length of the object and amount of voltage in circuit, etc. So analog computer is also used to measure and perform arithmetic calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division on numbers. So like length of the object, amount of voltage in circuit, means how much amount of voltage is passed in the stabilizer, or how much amount of voltage is passing in circuits, or different electrical devices, etc. Next, analog computers are mainly used in the field of science and engineering. These computers are slow and cannot store measurements. So immediate results they will give, but those results are not stored in analog computers. Next, how it goes on process. It will take input, that input is processed, and after processing it will give output. So what it will take input? Physical units or analog signals. After that output they will also give in analog or in continuous form. So let us see some examples on analog computer. So here speedometer, see bike speedometer or car speedometer or voltmeter, which measures current or body temperature, right? In the bike you can see speedometer. When we go on speed, it will also continuously changes the speed or decreases, increases, like that. So one more best example for this is an analog computer is installed on a petrol pump, measures the amount of petrol coming out of the pump and appears in liters and calculates its value also. You can see when he started pouring petrol in a petrol tank, continuously numbers will go on continuous. So it will measure what coming, how the petrol, how much amount of petrol, like 1 liter, 2 liter, and how it appears. Next, it also calculates its value. So this is the best example for analog computer. See, we'll see some of the diagrams of analog computer like this. So these are analog computers, and this is about what? Analog computer. Next we'll go for digital computer. Now digital computer, it operates numbers, zeros and ones. See, digital always now present, all everything are digital only, right? It operates numbers, zeros and ones. These two numbers are called as binary digits. So in the computers, these zeros and ones are called what? Binary digits. Digital computer performs calculations and logical operations. They take input in binary form, that is zeros and ones, and generates output in digital form only. So they perform arithmetic calculations like arithmetic calculations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and logical operations like comparisons, selections, right, lesser than, greater than, like that. Logical operations also digital computer will perform. So what they will take input? They'll take input in a binary form, and that is zeros and ones, and generate output in digital form only. So in analog, we have seen an analog will take physical analog signals, and it also gives analog as output. Next, digital computers use discrete signals for operation rather than continuous, right? So rather than continuous, it will take discrete signals. It may be continuous or it may be constant, both it can take. Digital computers can perform arithmetic calculations, organize and analyze the data. So these computers can perform arithmetic calculations, and data can be organized and analyzed using digital computers. Same input, process, and next finally it will generate output. So what it will take input? Data in digital form, that is zeros and ones. So it processes arithmetic and logical operations, and finally it gives result or information. So based on the input, it will perform two operations, that is either arithmetic or logical. So this is about digital computer. Next, computer, that is examples we'll see, that is calculators, digital clock, smart watches, etc. are some of the examples. You can see the diagrams. So you can see the numbers, they will not will be continuous, they will like splitted one. You can see in calculator. Smart watches, you can see, say digital watch, this is, and this is what smart watch. So these are the some of the examples for digital computer. And next, hybrid computer. So hybrid computer is a combination of analog and digital computer, so which are used for special purposes. So hybrid computers are the combination of both analog and digital computers. So these hybrid computers are used for special purposes. These computers have speed of analog and accuracy of digital. So here these computers will have speed of analog, so analog speed, and they'll use accuracy of digital. So they'll take what you can understand, they'll take input as analog signals, and finally they'll give result in digital form. So the purpose of designing hybrid computers is to provide functions and features that can be found on both analog and digital devices. So instead of keeping analog aside, they have introduced the combined. So analog will have some features which they may not work in digital, or digital may have some features which they may cannot in analog. So like that, both they have combined and formed a new computer, that is hybrid computer. So both using analog functions and features, using digital and digital functions and features, they have introduced this hybrid computer. So both analog and digital functions and features can be found, right? So that is why this is the main purpose of designing hybrid computers, to provide functions and features that can be found on both analog and digital devices. Both can be used. Next, hybrid computer accept analog signals as input, converts them into digital and process it, and gives output in digital form. So it will take analog signals as our input and converts them into digital. After converting, they will process the signals and gives output in digital form. Just now you can see the example. Now all bikes are converted into digital meters. Instead of analog meters, they have converted into digital meters. So while you are driving, I'm sorry, while you are driving, the speed is continuously will change, right? So in a previous bikes, if you can see old model bikes, if you see old model bikes, you can see one pin will, if you increase the speed, pin will go up, right? If you decrease the speed, that dial will come down. Now instead of, if you increase or decrease the speed, the numbers will display on the screen. That is called hybrid computer. It's the best example, right? Analog signals, it will process and gives output in digital form. Digital bike meters is one of the example for hybrid computer. Next we'll see some examples, and these hybrid computers mainly used in hospitals, right? Research centers, scientific calculators, defense and radar systems, etc. See, this is one example of hybrid computer used in hospital. Can say heart rate is taken on analog, and the numbers BP rate, pulse rate is given in the form of numbers. And this scientific calculator is also considered as hybrid computer. This is about what? Classification of computer based on type, that is analog, digital, hybrid. Next, classification of computer based on size. So here class computers, what are the classification of computer based on sizes, we'll see now. Microcomputer, mini computer, mainframe computer, supercomputer. So these are the computers are classified based on their size, or you can say capacity. So let us see one by one. First, microcomputer. So what is microcomputer? So a microcomputer is a small computer which contains a microprocessor. A microcomputer is a small computer, so which contains a microprocessor. So it contains a small microprocessor. Next, it is also called personal computer. In short, we call PC. We'll say PC. We'll call it as PC. Nothing but personal computer. A single CPU with single user system used at home, school, shops, etc. is considered as microcomputer, right? In schools or in colleges or in shops, used by single person and single computer, it is considered as microcomputer. Next, the primary purpose of microcomputer is to process and store everyday tasks of the users. So what are the daily transactions, you can say daily tasks. Tasks means works, okay, nothing but daily transactions. The primary purpose of microcomputer is used to process and store everyday tasks of the users. So we are the users. Our daily transactions or our daily works can be done using this microcomputer. Next, only one user can use on a single PC at a time. So only one computer, only one person can be used. But its operating system is multitasking. So whatever operating system we are using like Windows 7, XP, 10, but it is multitasking. But multitasking means multiple works can be performed. Like while listening songs, you can take printout. While listening songs, you can browse internet, you can download, you can print out, like maximize, minimize, you can create folders. Like this multiple tasks you can perform in a single PC, but only one person can use at a time. The invention of microprocessor is done in the year 1970. It has become possible to use computers for people personally at low cost and reasonable price. So with the introduction or with the development of a microprocessor, means just like you can say SIM card in a mobile, like that you have one microprocessor, a small processor, right? So introduced or developed in 1970. So with that invention, this microcomputers are using by number of people because it is available at low cost and reasonable price. So let us see some examples. Desktop. So this is not normally a microcomputer, a laptop. Next, workstation. So here desktop workstation looks similar, but both are different. Here workstation contains high storage capacity, high processing speed. Right. So desktop contains less storage capacity and less processing speed. That is the difference. Next, palm tap. Next, smartphone or tablet PC, called tablet PC. So these are the some of the examples of microcomputer. Next, we'll see the next computer, that is a mini computer. So what is mini computer? So introduced in the year 1960 by Digital Equipment Corporation. So in short you can call DEC. So introduced in the year 1960 by whom? Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC. Mini computers are also called mid-size multi-processing systems because these computers are capable of supporting multiple users, up to 200 users simultaneously. So here microcomputer can use only one person, but here mini computers can capable of using 200 users simultaneously. So simultaneously they can use this mini computers. They are also called as what? Mid-size multi-processing systems. So multiple tasks they will perform, but in size you can see the size is mid-size. Next, contains large memory and large storage capacity, more processing capacity. So number, suppose microcomputer is performs 10 instructions per second, so this mini computer will perform 20 instructions per second, double, like that. Next, these are used as web servers, database servers, or gaming servers, etc. Next, PDP-1, you can say one world's first mini computer. Let us see the images. So this is PDP-1. See another mid-size computer, that is VAX. So these are the images of mini computer. Next computer, that is mainframe computer. So very large in size, so required entire room or even complete floor for setup and more expensive. So to set up or to install this mainframe computers, you required room because they are very large size. Even they take some floors for setup, for constructing or for this installing the mainframe computers, and these are very more expensive. Next, capable of supporting hundreds or even thousands of users can at work at a time. So in a microcomputer, only one person can work, but in a mid-size computers, 200 simultaneously. But mainframe, at a time, hundreds or thousand users can work. Next, contains several microprocessors which can have ability to perform data operations at high speed. So multiple processors it contains. Okay, for example, you have one construction area. Suppose they want to carry a bricks to the first floor, right? Now if you there are example, you take some thousand bricks are there, right? So one person is carrying, suppose one person is carrying 100 bricks per hour. Suppose if you take one more person, how many bricks you can combine? 200 bricks, 100 200. Suppose if you take three persons, so in 3 hours 300 bricks can carry to the first floor. So like that, if you go on increasing the person, the time will be reduced and work will complete very fastly. In the same way, yes, several microprocessors are used to perform data operations at high speed. Next, by used by large organizations like corporate companies, airports, banks, universities, research centers, etc. Why they are using? To handle bulk of data. See, bank contains bulk data, airport contains bulk of data, right? Research centers also contain bulk of data. And corporate companies also contains a very large amount of data. So these normal computers cannot handle this type of data very easily. That's why they have introduced this mainframe computers. Now who developed this? IBM company developed International Business Machine Corporation it is. So even today is a world number one computer manufacturing company also. So see here, today IBM company is a leading the production of mainframe computers. These computers can work 24 hours, right? Let us see some examples. So this is one of the IBM's mainframe computer, IBM Z, and UNIVAC is also considered as mainframe computer. Next, supercomputer. So it is very fastest and powerful and expensive computer. So they compared to all computers, so supercomputer is very fast and powerful and expensive computer. So it can process data at very high speed. Its size and storage capacity is very huge. Next, it occupy a large area because multiple CPUs are attached. They work parallel in order. Here in my mainframes, multiple processors are there, but like that, here in supercomputer, multiple CPUs are there attached. So those CPUs will work in parallel order. Next, it is designed to process huge amount of data in very short time. So huge amount of data can be processed in very short time. Used at space research centers. So for rocket launching, they'll use next weather forecasting and prediction of natural disasters like tsunamis or earthquakes or like tufans, right? All these can be predicted using these supercomputers only. Next, world's first supercomputer is a Control Data Corporation 6600 CDC 6600, invented by Seamus Cray. Okay, so this is the world's first supercomputer. So let us see some examples. So this is the IBM Roadburner is one supercomputer in India only, and this is also IBM Blue Gene is another supercomputer. See how much amount of space, like multiple CPUs are arranged in a room or in a floor. Next, this is what CDC 6600, old world's first supercomputer. Okay, this is about what? Supercomputer and classification of computer based on size. Next, based on purpose. So let us see classification of computer based on purpose. So there are two purposes, that is general purpose and special purpose. So now what is general purpose? So general purpose computers can do everyday tasks such as word processing, letter, documentation preparation, some recording, some financial data analysis, some printing documents, creating database, calculations with accuracy and consistency. So whatever just now I said, daily transactions, right? So if you use the computer for daily transactions, daily works like letter typing or document creations or financial data analysis or some type of calculations or some creating some databases, small databases, but with accuracy and consistency, so those computers are considered as general purpose. Next, the size, storage capacity and cost of computers are mainly less. So general purpose computers, storage capacity, size and cost of is less. The ability of this computer is limited in performing specialized task. So they will not perform a special task. So all tasks like word processing, document creation, so daily transactions they will perform, but only specialized task these computers will not work. Okay, so here specialized task means only it will work only for one work, like what for documentation if you take, so those specialized task means that computer will create only documents. So some financial analysis means what, those computer will analyze only financial data, like that specialized task these computers will not perform. Still, it has the versatile and useful for serving users basic needs at home, office, school, or in a workplace in any environment. So general purpose computers can see at home, office, school, all these are considered as general purpose computers only. All daily, everyday tasks are performed in these general purpose computers. Next, special purpose computers, in the name itself we have, so they will work specially, right? So these computers are designed to perform a particular or specialized task. The size, storage capacity and cost of such computers mainly depends on the nature and size of the work. See, sometimes we'll say this is specially designed for this particular task, right, not for all the tasks, like that those computers are considered as a special purpose computers. Suppose if you take a result storing computer, means that computer will store only results. Suppose you have one computer, it will display only videos, that is called like special purpose computers. It will display only videos, so it will capture only some data, so only some transactions at a particular field only it will work. For education means only for education. Next, for videos means only for videos, audios means only for audios, like that. Photo editing means only for photo editing, like that special purpose. So here its cost is depends on nature and size of the work. The function of this computer is consistent with any particular task. The special computer needs specific processors and input and devices to perform work efficiently. Always special means special processors only required. Next, these computers are used for special purpose in weather forecasting. Just now I said, see, weather forecasting means they will forecast only weathers. Next, space research, agriculture, engineering, meteorology, satellite operations, and traffic control, and research in chemical sciences. So like this, so you have traffic signals. So traffic signals is controlled by special computer, special type of computer, right? So normal computers they will not uh, control. So like this, only for special operations or special tasks to perform, these computers are used. Okay, this is about what, classification of computer based on purpose. Okay, this is about. Next, these computers are also called as dedicated computer because they are working only for dedicated task. Next, See, this is about what classification of computer. Thank you.